Local food isn't new, it's been around us all along. Listen to chefs, farmers, and like minded folks talk about what local food means or could mean to you. Right here with your host, Julie Cushine Rigg, and Fresh on the Fly, where we got you covered when it comes to everything you ever wondered about local food. Listen in as guests also take a food question on the fly. Come on, let's get fresh.
Hello and welcome again to Fresh on the Fly. Today we have three guests. They're from Four Fat Fowl in Stephentown, New York. You'll hear from Josie, Willie, and Shalina about how they started the business in Willie and Josie's grandmother's kitchen and how they came up with that wonderful name, Four Fat Fowl. It all includes a little history lesson, a bit on the early days, and a lot of laughs, and more than one response to our Fresh on the Fly scenario. So welcome to our friends from Four Fat Fowl.
I would say welcome to this episode of Fresh on the Fly and to Four Fat Fowl. I did look into the history a little bit, and the name Four Fat Fowl, it really, that is so cool. I take it that you guys can better explain it, but it seems like it was part of how people could pay their rent to the patroon back in the, I don't even know what years we're talking here, but Stephen Van Rensselaer, who owned quite a bit of land, I understand, over in Stephentown. So can you talk about that a little bit, and what was the deciding factor where you guys were like, Four Fat Fowl, that's it?
You know, a lot of the great French triple creams and cheeses, even domestic cheeses, a lot of the artisan cheeses have names that refer to their locality, to where they're made. And a lot of the classic French triple creams are, Saint, Saint somebody or another. So we wanted to do both things. We wanted to kind of have a nod to where we make the cheese, and we wanted to also have a nod to kind of our local history. So Four Fat Fowl actually came from during the Dutch patroonship period. Stephen Van Rensselaer was kind of a landlord of sorts. He was the patroon. He owned a lot of land in what's now present-day Rensselaer County. And he charged, depending on how much land people were renting, it would be a certain number of bushels of wheat or, various other things. But every tenant had to pay Four Fat Fowl as part of their annual rent every year. And I had seen that phrase over and over again. And, I was working with some of those old leases, which are really cool to look at. And we actually have one copy of one up in our viewing room at the creamery so people can take a look at it. But I had just seen that phrase over and over again, Four Fat Fowl. And it has a ring to it. The alliteration is great. And it also kind of did that thing where it nodded to our region and our local history, but without being too kind of obvious. So it was like quirky enough that it would stick in your head and a little bit weird and, had some great alliteration.
I can really appreciate that, and it is intriguing because I knew the name and then I knew what you guys did, and I said, oh my goodness, how does that all go together? That's clever. I wanted to ask you, so that was, Four Fat Fowl was part of an annual rent to Stephen Van Rensselaer? Wow, so what years are we talking, do you know? Or
So yeah, I mean, the Dutch colonial period was, starting in the 1600s. So this was around Stephen Van Rensselaer, I think 1764 to 1839 was Stephen Van Rensselaer. So there were, different patroons over different time periods. And that system, it was essentially, a lot of people don't even know actually that in the Northeast there was a Dutch colonial period that, we were colonized by the Dutch before the English. And people often don't know about the patroonship system, which is, it's kind of a niche little piece of knowledge, but it's, it was essentially feudalism here in the United States in a way, the way that there would be one major landowner and all of the kind of farmer tenants would pay rent. So yeah, Four Fat Fowl. I just love that it was specified that they had to be fat too, because we don't want any of your skinny fowl.
I don't care what kind of fowl, they shall be fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so Willie, did it specify what kind of fowl?
No, nope, just says fowl, which opens up a really wide area, but I don't know.
When did you guys start this whole endeavor? What started it? What was the catalyst? What happened there?
There was a lot of catalysts. We talked about it a lot first because Shalina and I worked in the cheese business already, and we would tell our tales of things going either right or wrong in the cheese business, and then at a point, I don't know, it's kind of late in our cheese careers, we would joke that maybe someday we would start our own business or something, but it was kind of a silly, kind of far out there idea, and I was still working for other people, and Josie was busy, and Shalina was, working for a company. I guess what made it all blow up was I had signed on with a yogurt company that I really just, it wasn't working out. And I think I was there for a full 6 weeks.
Oh,
And I just called these guys and was like, maybe is this the time when we just, kind of jump and do this? And they agreed. So we started, kind of just slowly building a small place up in Steventown. And that was like the end of 13, right? Do I have this date right, Joes?
Yeah, September of 2013 is when we officially filed the paperwork to incorporate. I think we were kind of cleaning out the building a little bit before that, but
Right. So yeah, we moved into an old pizza place, like a little tiny building, and bought coolers and bought a vat and just, started gradually putting this thing together. And then yeah, one day, opened the door and actually put milk in the vat and made cheese, and it all seemed, crazy and like
it was
some
crazy.
wild-eyed idea. And like, the first batch worked, and actually the first batch I had made probably 30 test batches in a kitchen before we had thought this up. And none of them turned out as well as the first actual production batch. So, we're sending out samples. Selena's running around giving this cheese to everybody, and I'm, bringing it to everybody I can think of that will tell me an honest opinion of it. And people said really nice things. So, so
that's awesome.
so we started making like small amounts. I mean, we were small, right? I mean, we were tiny. We were doing 30 or 40 cases a week for a little while. And then I guess it started with Murray's kind of calling us, and then we had to build a bigger cooler. Like we just started getting orders that were the size of what we were making.
Yeah,
And
you need a bigger boat at that point.
right, we just kept needing a bigger boat. And that's actually been the story since then.
Yeah, ever since. I just have to clarify for posterity that the kitchen that he was making the test batches in was our grandmother's kitchen because she would go
Yeah.
to Florida for the winter
Oh,
and he would hijack her fridge.
I had
And
humidity and temperature controls on a refrigerator. Yeah, we aged a lot of cheese in there.
oh man, did you give the blessing before that, or was it a surprise?
Oh yeah, no, she knew. She,
Okay,
she was all behind it.
she actually donated our first vat to the
Yeah, she bought her
operation.
vet.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to start up without her, actually.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Shalene, I want to ask you, had you already been in the family? Did you marry into it when they were like in the middle of all of this? And at what point were you involved? In the very beginning or?
Yeah, we've been married for 22 years. So we were together long before we opened the business.
Very
Yes.
nice. That's good.
We've actually been friends since we were kids, so like we just sort of feel like we've been married for 3,000 years.
So you really had the good core, three people. You started with this. How have you grown since then? How many folks do you have now working at Four Fat Fowl?
Yeah, so we have three full-timers now, and then at first we really just did everything ourselves. At the point we hired a part-time rapper, and then it's just ballooned from there to I have two full-time guys in the production floor and one full-time rapper.
And Josie and Willie and I are also
And-
full time.
right, we all
Okay.
work as well.
Wonderful. And what is your most requested or what is your best selling cheese?
Steven.
Okay. And how is it? Is that a nod to Stephen Van Rensselaer or is that to St. Stephen?
It's a nod to a few things. Yeah. It's also a song title.
Oh,
It's an idea that I've actually wanted to use well before we got to Steventown, and my ideas were kind of knocked down. But once we arrived in Steventown, I was like, hey, that idea. And a lot of triple creams are named Saint something. So it was
yeah.
really just, it was kind of tongue in cheek. And I don't know, that one cracked me up.
And can you describe that for the listeners who haven't had that or had, it's a triple cream, I
Yeah,
understand?
it's
Okay.
very, very buttery triple cream.
And what is and I'm always intrigued about, and I've had the cheeses like with the mold on the outside. What is that all about? And do you eat it or do you cut it? What do you do?
Absolutely, you should eat it. Yeah, although I know people who don't. I mean, it's a matter of taste, but it's totally edible and really good for you.
Okay, so that's sort of just like protect. I know nothing about, the cheese making process, but
It's a mold that's been cultured over like a few thousand years. It's a known safe mold that grows well on the outside of cheese and knocks down other, dangerous molds.
oh, very
Also
nice.
grows really well in salt, which other dangerous
Oh,
molds tend not to.
It does.
okay.
It's good for you. I don't like it. I won't eat it,
Right. I
but
was
he
gonna
loves
say,
it.
I know people who don't eat the rind.
Well, it looked good when you were on the video. You could just take a cracker and like dip right
That's an
into it.
aged wheel.
That's the goal.
Yep, that's what you want to do. So the cheese, it varies by age. If you're catering or you want to make a sliced arrangement, you want a younger wheel of cheese, it'll be more firm. You can work with it. But when they get good in age, the rind may not look very appealing, but it is delicious inside. The paste is just, you can get in there and dip.
It looks wonderful, and I will give a little nod right now to you guys, and I'll let you plug this. And I'm holding up the latest issue of the Food and Wine magazine. Can you tell us a little bit about how that all came about? And it's quite a thing to be in that.
We have no idea how it
I
came about.
think we have some idea how that.
Madame Fromage,
Yeah, it was just luck.
a
Excellent.
writer, a cheese writer who's been around a long time and has been writing for a long time. She goes by Madame Fromage or Mamie Fromage on her socials. Must have just thought we belonged there and she included us in the article, much to our surprise. But it's been great. A lot of people have reached a whole nother base. We reached a lot of wine enthusiasts. We've received a lot of attention from that article. So thank you, Madame Fromage.
And
Yeah.
tell everybody what the article is, Shalina. What were we?
Well, it's
What
the
list?
top 25 American
cheeses.
cheeses in
So
food and
cool.
wine that we were listed
We're
on.
in like amazing company.
Yes, there's a lot of other. Lively Run Dairy was included for New York producer. We were included as a New York producer, and you have a lot of other really fabulous producers. Jasper Hill is on there. Lots of good. It's right where we want to be with the company we want to keep.
Yes, and I saw you number five out of 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still working that out.
I always feel like the fact that we continue to eat our cheese, we're now however many years, 12, 13 years into this or whatever, and we still eat it and love it. It's got to be
I,
good.
I love how I'm still surprised once in a while when I'm like, oh yeah, right, we still making cheese.
It's all yummy and it all looks delicious. I'm gonna have to stop by at some point to your brick and mortar. You have like a storefront or a
It's
store.
genuinely brick and mortar. It's an old elementary school with a very bomb shelter kind of architecture.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'd be anxious to see that. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys, how are you sourcing your milk, the products that you use that go into your cheese making. How did that start? How were you able to do it, and you're still able to do it on the scale that you're working at now with the increased production?
Luckily, I dreamed a lot of this up while working at another place where we were using this Jersey milk from a farm down in Stuyvesant, and all of my dreams of cheese making there were, why don't we just make something with this amazing Jersey milk? And so, in the back of my head, I was just like, God, if I ever had a creamery, I'd make a triple cream out of this Jersey milk. So
Dutch Hollow Farms.
yeah, so I already had a relationship with these guys at Dutch Hollow from buying it at Old Chatham. And it was a phone call and they, agreed to sell us milk. So it was a matter of getting it. So for a really long time, I drove, with every batch, I drove 40 minutes to pick up the milk and bring it back. And it was super complicated. So with our more recent expansion of a couple of years ago, we put in a bigger bulk tank and now a truck actually delivers it. So I don't have to do that.
Big time saver there.
It's a huge time saver. And not what I'm
Yeah.
good at. I'm better off making cheese.
I've been there to the Dutch Hollow Farm, and they're very gracious. They're a wonderful family. I did a story
Yeah.
on them probably in 22, yeah, probably about 10, 12 years ago. Those cows are beautiful.
They really are. They look like they put eye makeup on in the morning.
Such beautiful eyes.
Yes, yeah. So, is that your single source of milk? And
Yes. So then the other complicated part is cream, but luckily those guys are member dairy of Hudson Valley Fresh, so our cream comes from their herd too. So we just made an arrangement with Hudson Valley Fresh. They now deliver. Actually, they delivered right from the beginning. I've only ever had to go a couple times and pick up cream. So as long as that stays going, we have the exact right cream for the batch. We've used, other cream in emergency situations, and it never works out as well. So
Oh, wow.
we have it now where they're keeping up with us, and it's all their cream, and everything's been working really, really well.
Very good. So, how far away are you guys getting orders from where you're like shipping out to or supplying restaurants with your goods? How far of a reach are you guys getting to?
We're nationwide at this point. Yeah,
Great.
we can get all over the country.
What I want to do now is throw that fresh on the fly part out to any one of you or three. If one of you want to take it and run with it, great. You want to tag team it, totally up to you. You want to
All
just
right, I'm going to this is my signature recipe if I'm on a cooking show and have to compete. And I also would buy all these things right here. Is a chicken fricassee.
ooh.
Yeah, I can buy a whole chicken at any of the on my way home, any of the local farms.
For that recipe, for listeners who aren't aware of what the chicken fricassee is, could you explain it just a little bit?
So
What
you
it's
take whole pieces of chicken and brown them in butter, and then poach the whole thing in a bunch of white wine with a bunch of onions. And then when the chicken's like very well cooked, you take it all out and reduce all that wine and make a sauce out of it
With
with
cream.
cream.
yeah, very nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that can be a very quick weeknight dinner, or you can even do more like sides or something. Do it on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's super
You know.
basic, but it's so good.
Does anybody else want to take a fresh on the fly?
Fresh on the fly here locally is very easy with we have a several meat markets, so you can get some fresh ham from either the farmer's market or the pork store, and a fresh baguette from Bartlett Bakery. And
Garlic
here's
house,
our
yeah.
brie and a ham and brie sandwich on a baguette with some local lettuce and arugula is always delicious. Or you can pick up some local honey and some local fruit and have a cheese dessert with St. Stephen and
Right,
fruit
man.
and honey. And don't forget the baguette for that either. And I'll yield.
Well, I've been really into bread making recently. Now I live in a different locality. I live about an hour away from Stephentown, actually. So I'm in Washington County, but huge farming community here. We have amazing farm stands and just bounty.
Cows outnumber people for sure.
Yeah, but I've been baking bread recently, and I recently learned that a little store out here in Greenwich will freshly mill your flour to order, and they have like 15 different
Ooh,
heirloom varieties of flour.
That's amazing.
that's
It
cool.
has like elevated my bread game.
I
Huh.
gotta get in on some flour.
Yeah,
Yeah. We
I
need to
should say
talk
that
after this.
too.
nothing like it. And
Yeah.
especially, your local heirloom varieties of flour.
Yeah.
There's so many different
They're
kinds. And
incredible,
the
yeah.
nutrition content is way better than,
Right.
what we're getting in the
But they
grocery
didn't
store.
keep or ship well or something, which is why they never wound up being
Right.
used. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
All
I'm
right.
thinking of that
I
with
thought
the
I was going
flour.
to win that round, but
There's no winner. Everybody wins in that.
oh, all
Everybody
right.
wins in that round. This is the first time, Mackenzie, I think that we've had, a few different fresh on the fly. So thank you to all of you for taking it.
See those going.
That's awesome. Where do you guys see yourselves going in another few years, or have you just kind of enjoying the ride right now? And do you have a forecast as to how far this
I
is
mean,
going
I
to be?
think we're just driving this ship right now and just happy that it's not crashing. I mean, we certainly at some point would like to retire before we're, 1,000 years old, and we'll probably work toward that. But I mean, we're not 1,000 years old yet.
Well, some of us are.
I'm close to 1,000 years old,
Not
but
by
I'm
any means, no.
still a few years off.
Well, I think that it's all wonderful. I love the name. I've got to look into the product. I'll be stopping out. I'll give you fair warning, maybe, and stop out at some point. I know my
That's
husband.
fine.
Yeah,
would
do.
love- He'll love to see you guys too, and check everything out in the building, from what you're saying. And again, congrats on Food and Wine.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, that's still overwhelming. We've always been in cheese publications. We've never been in like a general food publication that's a huge new audience. For
Very
sure.
nice. Do any of you want to add anything about anything Four Fat Fowl, local or otherwise?
I'll just say that if you have somebody you want to send a special gift to, our gift packs are lovely, and 10% of all gift packs purchased on our website is donated to World Central Kitchen.
Oh, very nice. They do a lot of work and they do a lot of
Yep.
good work.
Yeah.
They do lots of good stuff.
Yeah. We've sworn that when we're retired and have nothing better to do, we're gonna go volunteer.
Yes. Drive our camper van.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll make
Yeah.
chicken fricassee.
Okay.
You'd be cooking that up in the camper. Well, thank you all from Four Fat Fowl. I really liked learning about the whole history of the area, the name, the products, and I will try and stop on by. So,
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
wait,
you,
can I
guys.
ask one more question? Can I ask one more
oh,
question?
Mackenzie, absolutely.
I am a big fan of cheese. Love cheese so much. I'm in California. I'm so excited that I get to just buy it right now. I know you guys just have the 2 cheeses though. What's on the horizon? What can I expect?
Your guess is as good as ours. We have like all kinds of things that we're always thinking about doing, but we take our time with things and we try to really just not do too much at once. So I'll tell you, we have messed around with a couple of things.
That
So
sounds awesome.
yeah, we just try to grow slowly and to like just really kind of enjoy the process instead of just getting buried under it.
We really, a guy who has been making cheese a lot longer than we had warned us of this. He really like leaped across the table and kind of shouted at me, "Don't make too many cheeses at first. Make one and get it right." And like the look in his eye has stuck with me since then. I really took that to heart.
Probably put the fear of God into it.
He did. He really did. It's like, all right, I will not make too many cheeses. I'll make this one.
And I will
Then maybe
confess
2.
right now, normally at the end I do say before we all depart, I usually do say, Mackenzie, do you have any questions or anything? And I felt like I was putting you on the spot all the time and I was trying to spare you, but I'm glad that you spoke up and I will never try to spare you again.
Good question.
Come on, I like cheese, Julie. Come on. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
thinking of us.